Hi, welcome to my video. I'm Jennifer Roberts. You're catching me on my YouTube channel, True Divine 44. You can also catch me on my Facebook page, True Divine, on Instagram and Twitter. It is The True Divine for both of those. Any likes, shares, subscribes, follows, comments in particular. I love hearing comments. Well, reading comments and replying to comments just to see where you are on your journey. How the readings are helping you, or any suggestions that you might have that might help you that I can integrate into the readings. If I can, I will. um, or I might change it up to try and accommodate it sometimes. Anything like that. I just love hearing where you are on your journey in particular and how you're all doing. And much love to everybody who does that thus far, and even to the people like Donna who I heard about yesterday, via somebody who supported me from the beginning and is still there now. And he made me aware of Donna, who is yet another person who I feel the support of, really do, but didn't have a name to put to her. And so there's people like that on the periphery that don't comment on YouTube, don't necessarily have an account, but that I know you're listening, and I just want to send out my gratitude and love to all of you that are like that also. You mean just as much to me as everybody else. So much love to all of you. So this is the reading for the 31st of June 2020. It is part of the free content that I put out in the daily energy readings that I put out. To give you an idea of the energies that you may face that day, that you may feel within that day. It helps you to be forearmed and forewarned for the day, but also to be able to reflect on the day depending on when you hear this. Or you can come back to it and reflect upon the day that you've just had and the energies that you may have encountered within others or within yourself or just around you in general. And it just helps you make sense of the day that you're either beginning or that you've just had. So only take, because it is general, only take what resonates here, and leave the rest behind. Not too much mind with general readings in particular, because you can bend a reading to your will, and you can actually, with the power of this beautiful mind, attract in things that you didn't necessarily need to attract into your life, or maybe didn't need to deal with your life. And the way we are, we usually attract things in via our insecurities when we bend things to our will. So this being for the 31st of June 2020, excuse me, on the bottom of the deck, we've got the Eight of Swords. So underpinning this reading, and it is just because we are going through a shift. We are going through a time when we really are bringing about change, whether that be for good or bad. Putting money on the good, well, currency energy on the good. There's a shift, there's a change, and just like any birth, there's labor pains, especially when we've been living in such an upside down construct, an upside down matrix of a system for so long. This patriarchal system that isn't in its divinity and has had things twisted for quite some time to keep the control for the very few at the top and the beings above them, for as long as they possibly can. So there is going to be extreme labor pains during this shift, and because it is a collective birth, there is going to be a lot of stuff to deal with, both within ourselves and in our immediate circle, and of course on the collective stage. So you can imagine the kind of labor pains and the kind of wounds and things and thoughts and feelings that that is going to bring up in everybody. And we do exchange energy, we do exchange currency, the real currency, not money, currency, energy. And so we do have an absorption, if we're not careful, of too much of others currency. And so we take that on board also. So on top of our own birth, our own individual birthing process, whether you're male or female, we're all in this together. you're going to feel inevitably. This is why I'm saging like a mofo, because I'm doing the same thing. I'm trying to keep my energy as mine, exchange it for good, but I'm trying not to, as well as protect myself and my household, I'm trying not to project my insecurities, my things, my wounds that I've got to birth through, that I've got to sort through, onto others. So I'm trying to keep my energetic field very, very clean, very so that I'm not having an effect negatively on others. And it's for all of us to take that stand and have that responsibility, and not the complacency, to not just protect ourselves during this time and do our own inner work, but keep that inner work to ourselves and not have it have a negative effect on our immediate circle, the people that we come across, and more importantly, the collective stage. Um, because if we do that, then we're going to prolong this labor. We're going to prolong the contractions. We're going to prolong however many stitches we might need after the birth. Sorry to be graphic, but this is a pretty graphic time. It's a pretty harsh time. So this Eight of Swords reflects that, underpinning the whole reading, in that this is the mental prison card. It's the thought merry-go-round card, where we get ourselves locked up in our own thoughts. Swords being air, swords being thoughts, the way we're thinking, what we're thinking, the words that we say over ourselves, over others, just into the universe itself, which absorbs everything that we put out. Our words are spells, and so it's to be careful when we get in this energy, to not stay in it for too long, to use it within its. Sorry if I'm itchy. I've been doing gardening this afternoon, and although I love being in the garden, I love planting things and helping things grow. I'm not so good. I'm fine when I'm out there, but when I'm away from the garden and I can sort of feel every itch and every tickle that usually you would just brush off, you've been in the garden, and you've seen lots of creepy crawlies, and as lovely as they are, I'm sure they do a good job at what they do, whatever the various insects do. They make me itchy. So if I'm wriggling and itching, I've double checked I haven't got anything on me, but I keep feeling like I might miss something. So just in case I'm itching, I haven't got fleas. So this mental prison, this merry-go-round, it's important to not stay on this energy for too long. It's important to, funnily enough, this is one of the older decks that I have with all of the writing on, and this has been ripped. It got ripped by Theodore, and so it's been sellotaped up. And so that's how much he thought of the Eight of Swords. He just ripped the damn thing up. He's an Aquarius. He thinks outside the box, so he didn't see any challenge in this card, or jumping off this thought merry-go-round of these cyclical thoughts going round and round and round, all of these worries and woes. He just ripped the damn thing up. So maybe we could all take something from my 5-year-old Theodore and rip it up and jump off this card, jump off this energy. Only use that energy, this card, for as long as it takes for you to find out where you're trapped, find out what is causing a depression, what is causing a sadness, what is causing you to. So, what thoughts are you thinking of? Who are you thinking of? What are you thinking about yourself? And try and flip those thoughts on their head, in that, what can you do about how you're feeling about yourself? What can you do about your immediate stresses? And try and condense it down. And although we have to take notice of the collective stage right now, don't let this card stick with you, as in worrying too much as to what is going to happen on the collective stage. I'm so itchy, I'm sorry. I should have maybe had a shower before I did a reading, because this is super itchy, but I don't want to start again, so excuse me. Um, So, this, now I'm thinking, and I'm going round and round with these tickles that I would usually be able to ignore. So anyway, this card, what can you do? It only work with the thoughts really right now as to the immediate thoughts of how which thoughts affect you directly. Um, Try not to extend this feeling onto the collective stage, because that's not going to do you much good. It's not going to serve you, and it certainly isn't going to make any kind of difference for the outcome of the collective stage. It is you doing your inner work, you doing your immediate individualistic work, that is going to actually have the greatest effect on the outcome of the collective stage. The more whole you can get, the more balanced you can get, the more impact you are going to have on the collective stage. So, the first card on the deck is the Six of Pentacles. So this is the generosity card, and I don't know if you'll remember, but we seem to have this a lot for many weeks. In the interim, in the start of this this lockdown, this widespread lockdown. Anyway, it kept cropping up. It kept coming up, and it speaks of generosity, it speaks of reciprocity, it speaks of gratitude, it speaks of that feedback that we get when we are kind to others, when we feed something that is charitable, that is generous into others or into something. It is the charity card, it is the generosity card, it is the gifts. So again, a lot of us, the wisdom with this card is that a lot of us don't use discernment and wisdom, in that we jump into things to try and do good without thinking, um, without doing the research, without doing the inner discernment as to, is this a worthy cause to feed our pentacles, our material, into the things that we can feel, touch, and see, and use, and be sustained by? Is this something that is, I hope you can bear with me, itching. So, is this something that is wise for us to feed our hard earned something into? Um, is this person, is this charity, is this construct worthy of us feeding our hard earned pentacles into? Because, of course, with the pentacles, no matter what they are, no matter what they represent at any given time, you've worked for them, whether that is emotionally, whether that is physically, whether that is the blood, sweat, tears, and mentally, and all of the above. You've worked for them. So there is a lot of energy in the material, there's a lot of creativity in the material, there is a lot of your spirit, your soul put into the pentacles that you want to give away. So it is up to us to be discerning as to where those pentacles end up. And not to think that we just have to sort of virtue signal and give and give and give and give and give, because that's the good thing to do. That's lack of wisdom. So the wisdom within this card is to, what are we feeding into? The second card would speak of, being very careful as to what we're feeding that energy into. It's a major arcana. It's the beautiful moon card. But the moon card speaks of the divine feminine. So it speaks of the intuition. It speaks of not seeing your way through. It's not like the sun card, where there's a lot of light, there's a lot of sunshine to shine in every corner, to light your path. This card speaks more to the dark woman manifest. You see the dark background here. It speaks to seeing with the third eye. It speaks to the intuition, feeling our way through, using our discernment through our feelings. So take notice of how you're feeling today regarding a person, a charity, or whatever it is that is trying to draw pentacles from you that is that seems to be acting like it needs your pentacles, or it needs your money put into it, your efforts put into it. Because the moon card often speaks of things that are the things that are hidden agendas, hidden under the dark night, in the dim moonlight. And this construct, if you want to take it back to the collective stage, as you know I do, it does speak of that. They've relied on hidden agendas. They've relied on trying to pull us into um, things that we would think were good, i.e., something like BLM, that would make us want to virtue signal, that would make us want to um, virtue signal is harsh, because for a lot of people um, that are protesting right now, they think they really do. Yes, there's a few paid actors. Yes, there's a script that's being followed, but the people that are sort of the add-ons, the extras, if so to speak, are people who genuinely think um that they have to stand up and defend a certain area, a certain a section of our society in a way that would be lovely and beautiful and generous. Of course, yes, it would be, if BLM stood for what BLM says it stands for. So there's that kind of, where's the wisdom in putting your energy into somebody else's agenda, putting your pentacles, your time, your effort into somebody else's agenda? That also speaks of social media. There's lots of um, bids for our attention, for our hard earned money. There's lots of bids for where we would put our money into a certain political side, for instance. Where are we putting it, and what is it doing? What is the real agenda behind wherever we are putting our hard earned blood, sweat, and tears, and all of the above? Because it's through the generous heart of most human beings that these hidden agendas, these deceptive forces, have managed to keep us tied down. In that, a lot of what we have got here, when I say we've gotten here through complacency, that's not to say that because we're lazy. No, we've continuously put our hard earned pentacles into these things that we've been fooled into believing. And so it's not through laziness, not for 1 minute, not when I say complacency, it's just the complacency of not learning how to use our gut, our intuition, and to see past veils, see past illusions, to see through agendas. And of course, these forces around us that have these hidden agendas have gotten quite good at keeping us, at fooling us. And so it's through complacency, not laziness, and in no way nastiness, that has kept us tied to an illusionary matrix, a twisted, messed up, unfair matrix that doesn't make sense. And we're seeing it all crumble right now, but we're still seeing people thinking they can fix it by doing and feeding their hard earned pentacles, their time, their effort into the same old agendas, just with a different title. And it's keeping them tied, it's keeping them bound. If you want to take this into our individual lives, be careful of people around you that maybe have suffered with addictions in the past. even if they've had a time where they've been clean for quite some time of whatever addiction that might be, during this lockdown period, during this time of a lot of stress, of a lot of constraints and controls, people's vices have come out in full force in many. Um, and so it might be that for a lot of you that you're encountering this in a family member or indeed in yourself, that that old beast, that devil, because this is the devil, sorry, I don't know if I mentioned that, another major arcana, that old beast creeping up on us again, where our body starts crying out for something that will lift us out of this twisted reality into something where we can just be in oblivion for some moment in time, no matter how short that may be. Now, if you are affected like this, if this resonates with you, whether it's in yourself or whether it's in a family member or a close friend, um, you know as well as I do that anybody who has suffered with addiction or has um, tried to care for and love somebody with addictions, that they are just like those that control the collective stage right now. They are become experts. We're very good at becoming experts at getting what we want when everything in our body is crying out for that certain something, that certain substance, that certain action. And so they're very good at pulling on the generous heartstrings, to pull out something that you would give generously, but would you give it generously if you thought it was going to be injected into your relative again? And again, complacency might have slipped in. These certain relatives might have been clean for quite some time of their addictions and liberated from them from their addictions for quite some time. But addictions are sleeping giants, aren't they? They can stay hidden and stay asleep for the longest time. But we have to admit that this is a very extreme time. This is a very extreme time of pressure, of mental breakdowns, i.e., going back to the underpinning of the reading, this Eight of Swords. Um, so that it's a test like maybe they haven't even had to face yet, regarding their addictions or your addictions, if this resonates with you personally. And so it's again, so if it's for you personally, if you're listening to this and this resonates with you from within you, um, find a way. How could we do this for you? Find a way. It's detachment from the world. It's detachment from the world. Find a way to turn off the TV, to not go on social media unless it's maybe to deliberately just to connect with people who can offer you support right now through messenger or through private messages. I think DMs, I think that's one of them. The Now I feel silly for saying that because I don't even know if that's one of them. But if you do go on social media, if this resonates with you, do it deliberately to hook up with friends, maybe if you can't be in touch with them, or relatives if you can't be in touch with them physically right now, if that is going to give you a lifeline of support. Bend whatever I'm saying here if this resonates with you to how it suits you. But all I would want you to avoid right now is to take away the hidden agenda bit, hide it from your mind, from your brain that is trying to lock you up in this mental prison again, this merry-go-round that you've already done so well jumping off. um just to avoid the headlines, to avoid the propaganda, because of, in all honesty, most of it is lies, most of it is manipulation, and most of it is virtue signaling, most of it is false right now. So don't let falsehoods take away everything that you've worked so hard to achieve, everything that you've managed to accumulate because you've been clean of addictions for so long. um, Again, if this resonates with you, for somebody who is in your circle, your immediate circle, i.e., a relative or a friend or a partner, it's a little bit more difficult to navigate again, because just as it is difficult if this resonated with you personally, if you're dealing with it in a partner or in a lover or in a friendship or a relative of any kind, you can't control what they may slip it back into. Only they can keep that beast asleep. Only they can have control over what they do right now to get out of this mental merry-go-round, this prison. What you can do, though, is take this away. As difficult as that would be, and I've been there, believe me, I'm not just talking out of the rear. I've been in the situation. I know how difficult it is to not give generously where you've given generously before, especially for a loved one. But the recognition of having the wisdom that this actually does not serve this person that you love at all. The generosity would be to batch cook them meals, or if you live further apart, instead of wiring money in whatever way you might have normally done, for food, order order them something online to be delivered directly to their door, so that you know that they can eat, that they can be clean, that they can feel sustained and maintained during this time, if you have the pentacles to do so. But to be intuitive and be strategic about it. And that's your way out of this. That's your way of helping. That's your best way of helping. And there might be some upset, because this beast can get very upset if it's not getting fed, especially if it's regarding addictions. Um, Take of that, let it wash over you. You've been here before. You know that that's not what is meant. It's just another tactic of this sleeping yet waking beast to get the funds to feed it, so it is a difficult day for a lot of people today. It's made a lot easier if you can not put too much mind into it. Not put too much mind into what this person might say to you when they don't get these pentacles in the form that they want to get them in, i.e., something that can be used to buy something else, other than food, or whatever excuse that might come up. Let it wash over you. Don't allow that to put you in this prison. Don't allow that to seep into your consciousness. Have the wisdom to know that that doesn't belong to you. It doesn't belong to you. It's just somebody who is having a real tough time keeping that sleeping giant asleep right now. So, although it's a tough day, you can make it easier on yourself of not using too much mind, but being strategic to keep yourself and themselves out of this prison, this cycle that wants to repeat. Um, to be intuitive about how you go about things, to know that you can still be generous, you can still feed the need, without feeding an addiction. You can alleviate the stresses for yourself or for the individual around you today. in that you can know that they can be sustained physically, i.e., food to eat, liquid to drink, the sustainable stuff, not the stuff that would chain them and bind them. So I'm sending you, if this resonates with you, so much love, so much strength, because it does take a lot of strength, and it does take the wisdom of the mother's heart, whether you're male or female, to be intuitive about this and not always give the child what they want, but give them what they need, um, which is a very two very different things, and to be like the mother, in that the mother knows better than most not to take on board what the child would say to the mother when not getting its own way. You've got to let that wash over you. Otherwise, mothers would be having mental breakdowns here, there, and everywhere, willy nilly, just be a disaster. So, have that mother's heart, have that intuitive heart, have that wisdom to know. You know best. Mother knows best, whether you're male or female. It's the divine feminine I'm talking about, the divine feminine mother within. So much love, much strength, and stay balanced and stay whole regardless of what is happening around you. Create a vortex of energy around you, that you can stay balanced within that vortex, and allow that vortex of energy around you. Let it be so that it moves so fast that things that might try and bombard through your energetic vortex today, let them bounce off you. Let my words be heard and let them bounce off you, so that you can stay in balance and stay whole, during this time, where even if you are handling things very, very well, which a lot of you are, you're doing amazingly, others aren't, and that they can try and maybe stop themselves from drowning by holding on to you, and that's all well and good, but only if you can sustain that by staying balanced and whole throughout it all. If not, then these people have to deal with themselves too. You have to look after you first and foremost. So balance, wholeness. If you'd like a private reading with me, you can get in touch with any of the details below. If you're getting in touch with me via Facebook, please use the Facebook page True Divine 44. True Divine, not True Divine 44. Um, Message me there, because a lot of messages for readings, energy work, and spiritual guidance have been getting lost in my personal Facebook page. So it means it looks like I'm ignoring people. I'm not. It's just I've missed those messages because I get so many messages in there each day. So they go further and further down the list. And I'm not that great with messages to begin with. So if you would like to message the True Divine Facebook page if that's your preference, please. So much love. Again, be balanced, be whole. I'm going. Mwah.